Hey, Kevin here, top 100 financial advisor and best-selling author, and we are here to talk about the stock market. Y'all know how it is. I'm really excited right now because, I be telling y'all, as I always say, or at least I say a lot, because I'm not perfect. I don't ever want to come out here and let y'all think that I'm perfect and everything I do is right. It is not right 100% of the time. You're not going to be right 100% of the time in anything, but especially the stock market. But when you call it like this, you got to say something, and you gotta make some points. So today I want to talk to you about Avis, how and why it exploded the way it did, and when I told you about it, what I thought then, what I think now. And I also want to give you a secret tip on the Rivian, however you want to pronounce it, that IPO. There's a secret tip about it. At least I think, well, yes, it's secret. I don't think enough people know about this. So I want to tell y'all about it, and then we'll do a company breakdown on it here pretty soon. Now, other thing too, as why I might be a little bit more animated than normal, or what you may consider as normal, is I'm not recording this at night. The kids aren't asleep, so I can be a little bit more loud and animated like I would prefer to be most of the time. All right, so let's go ahead and start with Avis. Now, I told you about Avis. The ticker symbol is CAR. I'll put a tweet right here on the screen as well. It's a lot of interesting things that have occurred at the right time to make this the perfect storm for this particular stock. So back on April 28th, I did a video with 6 travel stocks that I liked, and y'all know what I talk about. I like to buy, I hold for 6 months, I reevaluate. This is one of those reasons why this played out absolutely perfectly. If you did your own research, if you were on Inside the Investor's Toolkit, I put out a monthly watch list in the month of May. Avis was one of the first stocks on there. I put out, I think, like 15 or 20 stocks. I usually do this and refresh that list every single month. Back in May, Avis was on there. Okay, my students in the 2021 list, y'all already know. So here's how it occurred, and I'll talk about that list and how it works in a second. But did the video, you can check out the video. It only had 45 views at the time. But when I did it, I said, look, I like the stock. At the time, Hertz really wasn't that big of a player. They were going bankrupt. You got Enterprise and they're meh, right? But Avis was one of the biggest players. The virus was still here. People were going to travel. Travel was going to pick up. I didn't really factor in the chip shortage. I don't think I knew enough about that at that point in time. Now, from May 1st to yesterday, November 1st, the company, or the stock rather, was up 90%. So it was already an amazing stock. But today, they reported their earnings, their Q3 earnings were better than expected. And in one day, it jumped another 99% today. The time I looked at it this morning, when I posted on TikTok and everything else, the stock was at $337 per share. $337 per share. I talked about it, did the research, and said, look, I think I like it at 88. And I ended up getting it like 87 or so. And I be telling y'all. Now, it was a mistake I made. I'll talk about that in a second too. But we called it. I had students contact me on Instagram. You can check the comments on Instagram and say, hey, look, like, you were right. I made that 300% or whatever return, whatever ridiculous return that is. Now, I will also say that while, yes, I do still like Avis, I don't hold it right now. While I do like Avis, I'm not 100% sure that it makes sense to buy it right now today, because now you're chasing, right? If you are new and this is your first stock, what you don't want to do is say, oh my God, it went up 90% in the last 6 months and then another 90% today. Let me go jump in it now. That's a little dangerous, because then you're chasing. What you need to do is do your research, sit down, calm down, and figure out where is the market moving next. So if it's November now, we're talking about what, next April? What is going to be the thing that's going to drive the stock market between now and next April? You got to sit down and figure that out. But do feel free to go back and check those videos. And, this is why you subscribe. This is why you want to be on the email list. This is why you want to sign up for the courses. Because I do be telling you, okay? So that's my spiel about Avis. Congratulations to all the students that did buy, that did do their research and check to see if that was a good investment for them. Now, here's a mistake I made. Remember, and I say this all the time, I try to be as transparent as I can. When I say when you're investing for the long term, things are easier. 6 months is easy. It's easy. I buy, I hold, I leave things alone. Maybe I'm DCAing. I can just sit there and just have that happen, and whatever happens during that time happens, and usually, more times than not, you're going to be fine. Hold it for a year, come back, reevaluate, easy, right? But then when you're swing trading, you're only doing it for, let's say, 6 weeks. Or if you're day trading, you're only doing it for a day. The smaller that time frame is, the harder it is to actually make a profit. So what did your boy do? Instead of, right, being transparent, made the right call. We knew the stock was going up, didn't go up at the time I needed it to, because instead of just holding it, which is what I normally do about 90, I'll say about 80% of the time, I hold it, I follow the process. But I wanted to do a swing trade in this instance. I got it at 87, put a stop loss. Again, this is one of the reasons, this is one of the downsides of stop losses. Some of y'all say, well, when should you buy? When should you sell? You know, how do I protect myself? I did a stop loss. Got it at like $87-ish and said, look, if it drops down to 75, it falls out of my trade channel. And, you know, there's support and resistance. Like if it falls too far, I'll take the $100 loss. I'll take the money and go somewhere else. Well, that happened with Avis. Okay, it dropped out, I think maybe a month or so later, dropped down to about 75. It was a stop loss, protected myself, at least I thought I did at that point in time, right? And that was it. We let things go, market did what it did, and looking back on it now, right, now it's at $300 and some a share, and I personally missed out on what could have been a really incredible profit, okay? That is the risk you take when you are shortening that time frame. And that's why it is super, super hard to be consistent at these swing trades and these day trades, where it's easier, which is why the majority of my money is doing this long-term stuff, which is why I don't try and trade Google. I get in it, I stay in it, and I'm up 80-some-odd%. That's what I should have did with Avis. But again, I was like, I'm trying to do a swing trade, and this one time, right, it didn't work. Most times it does. PayPal was another instance where we'll see, right? We will see what happens. Y'all were here when we talked about PayPal. I still think it's a quality company. I think PayPal is going to be fine. However, when they talked about the deal that went through, allegedly, I don't even know where that is right now with Pinterest, and then the market tanked the way it did in September, it fell too far. It fell past my stop loss, so I'm out of it. Now, 6 months or a year from now, and I don't think this will happen. However, if it's up 99% in a day, right, or 90% between now and then, hey, you miss out on it. That's the rules of the game. You have to protect your profits or your potential losses. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. However, I still think that Avis is a decent company. I still think PayPal is a really good quality company. But there's a difference. If you're going to hold it for a long term, you stick in it, you hold it, and you let time play out, which is why the majority of the time, that's what I do. It is easier to do that. Profits are a little bit more predictable. While you can't tell the future, again, they're a little bit more predictable, and you're going to be right more often than not. That's why on public, when you see me buy every single Friday, you very, very, very rarely ever see me sell for stuff like this. Go back to the video where I talked about Nike. I bought Nike, I held on to it. Nike wasn't doing what I needed to do, but I waited until I hit that 6 month mark. And just a few days before, it popped 15-some-odd% the day before I sold it. Right, and that was just happened to be the date they reported earnings. They did better than what they expected. I think it was June 2021. You can scroll back and check the receipts. Made that anywhere between 13 to 20% on that company. Hey, that the process is the process, right? So you win some, you lose some. I did lose in a way. I did lose money. Lost like $100 on it, but my students won, which I am still very happy about. And then the analysis was right. The company did go up. It just didn't go up between the time I bought it and the 5 or 6 weeks after. But after that, it went up, right? So we're still right there, still excited about that. Now, transitioning into what a lot of people are going to be talking about the next week or so. Rivian is having its IPO. What is Rivian? Rivian is an electric truck maker. They want to, just like Nikola, which didn't go well, they're looking to compete against Tesla. They would also be competing against Ford and GM. We know that electric vehicles, especially right now this week, the president's talking about climate change and all that kind of stuff internationally. And a lot of, I got something flying around, sorry. We've got a lot of this electric vehicle catalyst or momentum, things pushing those stocks upward. Plug Power was up 8% yesterday. I don't know what happened with it today, but a lot of these electric vehicle stocks, Tesla included, are ramping up and going forward and doing quite well right now. We'll see where they go. I want to do a breakdown Plug, another one, because things have reversed. Very interesting company, very interesting stock rather. we'll get into that. But Rivian is going to have the IPO. It is expected for next week, and Amazon has, I think, like 20%, a 20% stake in it. Anytime, I told y'all this about Snowflake, told you this about C3 AI, anytime that I start to see these major established companies that I know do well start to invest in other companies, I have to keep an eye on it because that's where the money is. If Amazon bought a 20% stake in it, it has a benefit between those two. There's something about that company that we want to learn more about. But here's the thing. If you download the SoFi investing app, you will get the pre-IPO price, which means that they're going to get a preferential price, the lowest price you can possibly get at this point in time, or when it becomes public. You're going to get the best price possible, and then everybody else on every other investing app is going to get second dibs. If you have the SoFi app, they don't pay me to say this. I don't have an affiliate link that I think of, because I just downloaded it today. Maybe I should check that out. Anyway, this came out in Business Insider. They're going to offer it to SoFi users first, and then it's going to hit the public markets, the rest of the market, and they're going to do what they do. So it would behoove you, if you're looking into this company, that if you look into this IPO, that might be where you want to go to get it. Now, here are the keys and things you want to know. IPOs, I've talked about this before, can be risky. Okay, they can be risky. Some do well, some do not, for a bunch of different reasons. We can go back to DoorDash, Lyft, Uber, Slack. I run down these lists all the time. Sometimes they go really well, sometimes they don't. It really depends. Based on the hype, I think it could be the next big thing, based on the hype. But the hype ain't profits, right? The hype isn't always reality. So what I would behoove you to do, what I think it was best for you to do rather, is to research the company. Now, either tomorrow, today is Wednesday. I think today is Wednesday. Today is Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. So either Wednesday or Thursday, I want to pull together some research and give you guys a quality breakdown on the company, what I am probably going to do. Most times I don't do IPOs, but that Amazon stake really got me looking very, very hard. It's the exact same reason I invested in Snowflake. I don't know if it was Warren Buffett or Microsoft or Salesforce. One of those companies put a lot of money into it, and hey, that company is up now. Okay, and that's one I'm holding for the very long term. So that's something you want to look into as well. I always bring it back to Tesla. When Tesla went public, it went 7 years, 6 to 7 years where you really didn't see anything. And then like 2017, 2018 or so, it exploded and then kept exploding. And it is where it is today. So if you are getting an IPO, especially a company that's new, that is young, that's in a trendy space, but we don't really know enough about it yet, it might be a while. I do not plan on selling my Snowflake stock for years, right? Until I start to see what I think is going to happen with it. So keep an eye on that. All right, so that's what I got to say for today. Last thing. Today is the last day for the discount for the Investors Toolkit. The Investors Toolkit is where you're going to find my monthly stock list, anywhere between about 10 to 20 companies every single month that I like on the watch list. Tells you when to look, where to look, how to look. All that stuff is inside of the Investors Toolkit. I also offer monthly calls. People ask me for like apprenticeships and mentorships. We have a group call if you do the paid in full bonus, which means you pay it all one time, or you can do the payment plan. Those who do it at once, every month we meet. This does not expire. The list doesn't expire, neither do these calls. Every month we sit down live and in person, well, virtually, and we talk about what's going on in the market, questions that you may have. Every single month. You pay one time, you're done. You never have to pay again. Okay? So there's that. I'm adding a new product that will benefit for those in the Investors Toolkit as well. Keep an eye out for that as well. So we're going to do a Rivian video. Talked about Avis. If you have any other questions or videos or companies that you want me to break down, put those in the comments below. I love answering questions. It's what I like to do. I am still a teacher at heart. All right, that's it for me. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.